Hey YouTubers, I know it's been a minute since I posted my last video. A few weeks have passed, but I've been playing lots of poker. I've been watching my Braves get closer and closer to clinching a berth in the playoffs, Major League Baseball playoffs. But as you guys know, there's political seasons coming up, and tonight you had your first Republican debate without Donald Trump, which is a bunch of freaking losers, trying to jockey up to be vice president. And, I didn't really watch it, but I did kind of catch the highlight, the clip notes of it. And it looks like that Baswami guy, the high-tech whack job, who doesn't believe in climate change, who thinks that the voting age should be raised to 25. Easy for him to say that. He's over 25. But this guy's, he's been singing Trump's praises. And this guy actually, I think he may be trying to campaign, to be Trump's vice president. So he said all this good shit about Trump in the primary, during the debate tonight. And, other than, Chris Christie, everybody else was like, trying to walk that fine line of, being, when it comes to being critical of Trump. Because those motherfuckers, if they ever got a chance to, to get the nomination, they need Trump's supporters. Because if Trump quits, or gets whatever, all he got to say, if he loses, it's rigged, and his fucking followers will stay the fuck home. And the Republicans will lose in a fucking landslide. So that's why the Republicans can't fucking say anything bad about his ass. Motherfuckers have been indicted 4 times. But, it's like double, triple down. All these fucking white people that voted for Trump, they're tripling the fuck down. I mean, and it's like they're unyielding in their support of him. So anyway, I mean, it's like unbelievable that, these guys are, they just, which is a good thing for Democrats. Because I think Biden can beat Trump again. Because, Trump's going to get the hardcore support among the Republicans. And then, of course, the establishment Republicans will make the mistake once again. And they'll go, well, we don't like Trump, but he's better than Biden, and they'll support him. Well, the problem is independents hate Trump. They hate him. At least with Biden, they know what they're getting. Trump, they hate him. And so they're going to go with the Democrats. And, of course, the Republicans are going to lose again. I mean, I want to touch on something that I kind of, have thought off and on over the years about when it comes to the Republican Party and Jesus, like the Christian religion, and I think it's all bullshit when it comes to religion. But I grew up going to church. My grandmother went to a Lutheran church. I had to go to a Baptist church at one point in my life, and it's like, the Jesus I read about healed sick people, those who were injured. He fed the poor, ministered them, laid hands on them, washed their feet. Some rich asshole come up to him and said, hey, Jesus, what I got to do to get into heaven? You know what he told him? Sell your possessions and follow me. And you know what the guy did? He turned around and made like paste. Somewhere in the Bible it says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich asshole to get into heaven. You know why? Because rich assholes care more about money than they do about anything else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with loving money. Well, there's a thing in the Bible that says the lust of money. That's where the sin comes in, the lust for it. And when I say lust for it, it means like you'll do anything to get it. And when it comes to you do anything to get it, that means you're breaking laws. You're fucking people over because it's not enough. $1 million is not enough. 10 million, 100 million, a billion, 10, 100 million. These guys are worth over $100 billion. They want to be the world's first trillionaire. Elon was on his way up there until the whole fucking bought Twitter and all that shit went down. Tesla stock went down. You can't tell me that motherfucker doesn't want to be the world's first trillionaire. Where are you going to do all that goddamn money? Huh? Think about it. You can never spend it. I mean, you're living a life of luxury. Make sure, if I was that goddamn rich, I would make sure all my employees could take care of their kids and all their kids could go to school, like college, a good college. That's what I do. I would want my employees to be happy. I would share a little bit of my wealth with them. Say, hey guys, you know what? Thanks for working for me. Thanks for helping my company get so fucking rich that I can now afford to give you and all your kids a free ride to whatever college they want to go to. Then you know what kind of loyalty you'll get from your employees if you do some shit like that? That'll make you feel good. But your employees would be so fucking loyal to you, they want to bust ass for you. But you know what? That's not how rich assholes think. They think, you know what? If I give him a dime, that's a dime that comes from me. Because they look at it like a zero-sum game. But I saw this thing the other day when it came to the Evangelicals and the Republican Party. There's this pastor named Russell Moore who he's the editor of this Christian magazine called Christian Daily. And he's like an ordained minister. And he said that he's concerned with a number of pastors approaching him with their concerns that when they give a sermon about the Sermon of the Mount and about like Jesus saying about turning the other cheek, after his sermon's over with, the parishioners come up to him and go, hey pastor, where are you getting these liberal talking points? And the pastor's like, oh, these are the words of Jesus in the New Testament. And guess what the response of the parishioners are? Yeah, but that shit don't work nowadays. It's too weak. Imagine that. Evangelicals turning on Jesus. I mean, they basically might as well call him a hippie commie. Because if they're comparing the teachings of Jesus Christ to liberal teachings or liberal talking points, and that shit don't work anymore, then you're not a Christian anymore. You might as well call yourself something else. Now, here's what my theory is. Jesus is not the God of evangelicals anymore. Donald fucking Trump, that's their fucking God. Donald Trump is the God of the evangelicals of the Christian party today. He's their God, not Jesus fucking Christ. The Republican Party, the Trump supporters, long ago gave up the teachings of fucking Jesus. You guys might want to look in this shit. Those of you who call yourself believers, 90% of fucking white people voted, 90% of white Jesus freaks voted for fucking Trump. All right? Now, go to them and ask them about what they think about the Sermon on the Mount and about Jesus saying turning the other cheek. Ask them if they think that's a liberal talking point. And that, and if they say yes, then it's like, well, this is quoted from Jesus in the New Testament. And ask them what they think. Does it work today? Because the vast majority are going to say, no, man, that shit don't work today. It's too weak. Because they're all about owning the libs. That's what these motherfuckers are all about, owning the libs. They don't care about, loving thy neighbor. They want to hate their neighbor. They want to beat up their neighbor. They want to own their fucking neighbor. That's what they want. They want to turn America into the Christian version of the fucking Taliban. That's what they want. Ban abortion, ban gay marriage, force people to go to church, force people to pray, force people to give 10% of their income to some wacko pastor so he can have 5 vacation homes. And if you refuse to do those things, then some Christian judge will sentence your ass to some for-profit private prison. Or you do fucking labor for them until you come to your senses. But if you refuse to convert, your ass ain't getting out. That's what the Republican Party wants to eventually work for. They want to do away with working unions. They want to do away with divorce. They want to make males the dominant of the household. They want to make women submit to men. And they want to do away with all affirmative action so we can go back to the status quo where these fields that were mostly straight white male dominated will go back to being that way. They want all the judges to be white. They want all the politicians to be white. The only politicians they want to be black are the Uncle Tom sellouts like Tim Scott, senator from South Carolina, and Judge Clarence Uncle Tom Thomas to be judge of the Supreme Court. Hell, they'll let those motherfuckers be judges all day long. But unless you're an Uncle Tom and Jemima sellout, then they want straight white men to be judges. Straight white male Protestant judges. That's what they fucking want. And it's just fucking pathetic, man. And I can't wait for this debate, the Republican primary to keep going, all these charges against Trump. All it does is make Trump stronger. If these Republicans had any fucking sense, they would convolute behind one candidate. But they can't do that. You know why? Because they all want to fundraise. See, as long as you run for president, you can fundraise off of it. And when you make all these millions of dollars in donations, you know what you get to do with it? You get to live the good life. You get to travel first class, eat out every night, eat nice, expensive dinners, entertain people to have dinner with you. You get to buy fine, suits, first-rate suits off the rack, tailored. You can buy a car, nice cell phone. You can expense so much shit to your campaign. And these guys ain't dropping out until at the end, when they know they absolutely got no choice but to drop out. Until then, they're going to fundraise the fuck out of it. They know. But the only ones that realistically have a chance, other than Trump, is DeSantis and maybe Nikki Haley. Okay, that's it. The rest of them know they ain't got a chance. But they're going to fundraise the fuck out of it and live the good life. That's what it's all about. And I think it's pathetic. These Republicans go around talking about family fucking values and, being physically conservative. Well, you know what? Running for president when you know you ain't got a chance, that's not being physically conservative. That's just being a greedy motherfucker. That's what it's about. Another thing I want to talk about, and I've touched on this before, but I've been watching more and more of these podcasts, when it comes to dating and relationships between men and women. And it's like, a lot of women will bitch about not being able to find a good guy. Well, you know what? Here's a newsflash, ladies. Given the fact that of the 6 things that make a man a high quality, high value man, here's 6 things that most women look for in a man. You go on any dating site. They have it on all these dating sites now. You can list preferences by height, eye color, hair, income status, whatever. The first thing that knocks out 85% of men? You got to be over 6 feet tall. That's the first thing women check. You know why? For the rare occasion that they wear high heels, they want to be able to look up at a guy. I mean, how often does a woman wear high heels in any given year, in these days? Very rarely. But these women are willing to just ignore a potential good guy that would be a good fit for them because he's not 6 feet tall. Well, here's the newsflash, ladies. Only 15% of men are over 6 feet tall. So that means that 85% of men are invisible to you. Invisible. Now, I was watching a video, a podcast where they had these women, like they're like in their 30s and early 40s, and they're complaining about, now we're invisible to men. When I was younger, I had all these guys that would look at, every time I walk down the street, the guys would look at me like I'm fuckable. And now that I'm 45, 50, they don't even look at me anymore. They don't. I'm invisible to them. Well, guess what, honey? Ain't payback a bitch. The same men that you ignored are ignoring your fucking ass. And you don't like it, do you? Now, I'm going to say something clear here. If you're a female and you're like a 9 or a 10 in the looks department, I can understand you holding out for a high value man to a certain point. But when you refuse to date a man who's like an 8 or a 9 in the looks department and in other qualities, because you're holding out for that high value man, which is, okay, there's 6 things that make a man a high value man, which is what 80% of women are chasing after. It's a fact. 80% of women out there are chasing after 1, over 6 feet tall. 2, good looking. I mean, really good looking. Fine. 3, fit. No body fat, abs, muscles. We're talking fit. 4, make at least high 6 figures, and realistically live in the Bay Area, you got to make at least 7 figures a year. Now, if you're single, high 6 figures is okay. But if you got a high maintenance female, you need to make at least 7 figures in the Bay Area. So 7 figures, you got to be funny. Number 5 is funny. And number 6, have some charisma. A man who has those 6 qualities is considered a high value man. Now, guess what? In reality, only 1% of 1% of men are considered high value men. I didn't say 1% of men. I said 1% of 1% of men are considered a high value man, meaning they got all 6 qualities. Now, there are men out there that have like 5 or 4 of them, but they're not high value men. Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are 3 of the richest motherfuckers in the world, but they are not high value men. They're not good looking. Bezos is under 6 feet tall. So is Bill Gates. Elon Musk ain't in the greatest shape. And so it doesn't matter if they're rich. All right. Now, sure, they'll be like a supermodel or somebody's hot to out marry their ass, but they're not going to stay with them forever. Well, I'm talking about high value men, the men that look good, fit, the Tom Brady's of the world. Jay-Z. And I want to get to the difference between those 2 things right there. Jay-Z and Tom Brady. Why did Beyonce not divorce Jay-Z when she found out that he cheated on her? Think about that for a second while I drink this. Why did Beyonce not divorce Jay-Z when she found out he cheated on her ass? Because she wisely realized that it would be far easier for Jay-Z to replace her than it would be for her to replace Jay-Z. Now, I know some of you ladies out there, what are you talking about? Beyonce's a boss babe. She's got all this going on. She could pick any man. Here's a newsflash. Boss babes, successful boss babes like Beyonce, do not marry down. They marry up. All right? Meaning, they're going to look for a guy to settle down with who's making at least their money, their success, or above. They're not going to marry some motherfucker that's got less money than them and less notoriety and less successful than them. That's not how boss babes and successful women are made. Even though, you know what, I always felt like this. In this day and age where women make their own money, they get their own education, all right, they have their shit going for them. Why can't they be like men? Like a guy who gets successful and gets rich, you know what he looks for in a partner? Here's what a guy looks for who's like a high value man. Like women think that they know what guys look for, or what women have in their mind what a guy should look for. But here's a newsflash, ladies. This is what high value men look for. 1, youth. 18 to 23. Now, there's exceptions to the rule, but in general, she's got to be 18 to 23 years old, fucking hot. Number 2, hot, attractive, gorgeous. Number 3, fucking fit. No body fat, just fucking fit. Number 4, low body count. I mean, you know, realistically, no female's a virgin past 18 if she's hot, okay? But low body count. Number 5, fertile. Gotta be fucking fertile, because a high value man who busts his ass, he's in his early to mid 30s now, he wants to have fucking kids. And he wants to date a younger woman, marry a younger woman that can pop out 3, 4 kids and still be young enough to get her body back. Marrying a woman who's in her early 30s, she ain't gonna have 3, 4 kids without that fucking body blown up to being 200, 300 fucking pounds. Women don't want to hear this, I know. But you know what? I'm speaking fucking facts. When you are a high value man, you have options. There are way fewer high value men than they are women who are 9s and 10s in looks department. High value men can be selective. Women who are 9s and 10s in look department can't be nearly as selective as a high value man. It's a fact. Do the math on it. So, yeah, these guys can be selective. So what they want is, like I said, getting back to what a high value man is looking for, is youth, looks, fit, fertile, being able to have kids, low body count, number 5, number 6, faithful. She's got to be loyal. He don't want her fucking around somebody else and he's got to raise somebody else's kids. That he's got to spend his valuable resources that he worked hella hard for to raise some other motherfucker's kids. No, that shit ain't happening. Not with a high value man. Number 7, she's got to be compliant. This motherfucker work hard, got a lot on his plate. He don't want to come home to a woman who's not compliant. And number 8, no drama. Don't be argumentative. He don't want any drama. He just wants to come home to a wife who's glad to see him. Who wants to listen to how his day went. All right? So those are the 8 things that a high value man are looking for. Now, even women may not want to hear that. All right? But if you're looking for a high value man, then those are the 8 qualities that you better be fucking, with quickness, be able to satisfy, or it ain't gonna work. Now, when it comes to the rest of us men, that's a different story. We can't be that demanding. We can't be that selective, because we live in the real world. All right? Personally, I gave up dating when I was 35 years old. I'm 51 now. Back in 2007, I dated a nice, very attractive young woman. She was a vice president over at Bank of the West before Washington Mutual bought it out and before Chase bought it out. So I used to bank at Bank of the West, and I banked at Washington Mutual, and now I bank at Chase. And so I met her like on an ad on Craigslist, because she was the type of female who, she worked all kinds of hours. She was into the Rotary Club, very trying to into networking. She was in her mid-20s at the time. And so she didn't really have time to go out and just date. But I posted an ad on Craigslist, at the time, where I wasn't looking for a relationship either at the time, but I was looking for a friends with benefit type of deal. And I typed in an ad where, I call myself tall, single white male, looking for a sexy, attractive, Asian or white female who considers herself to be a lady outside the bedroom, but a freak between the sheets. And I went on to expand on that. I said, I'm not looking to her to beat up somebody, but there are times I can be tender and loving, but I can also be a little bit more aggressive and dominant. And when I say aggressive and dominant, I don't mean like hurting or beating up somebody. I mean like, kind of do a little role playing. Like, she comes over and it's like, all right, bitch, your ass belongs to me. I bend her over, grab her by her neck, pull her hair back, put her arms behind her back, make her lock her arms behind her back. And I'll say, listen, bitch, this is my pussy. I'll take it any fucking time I want. And I'll just ram it in her. And I'll like flex around her neck, pull her hair. Not hard, not trying to hurt her. But it's just like where she lets go. And she just able to let go and just let me just take control and just fuck the shit out of her. Basically break her fucking back. Because women who are like in this, like, whether you're in finance or the legal field, the doctor field, I mean, like these women are working like 60, 70 hours a fucking week. And so the men that they meet in their environments are either like, they got God complexes, selfish, assholes, or they're nerds. And they're like basically pussies in the bedroom. And these women don't want to coach a fucking guy. They want a guy to just know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, they're not looking for a relationship right away. Obviously, I'm not a relationship type of guy. But I'm 6'2", white guy, very confident, don't mind being assertive, and don't mind playing that game in bed. And I'm safe to do it with. And so that's what I did for like a number of years. I started with Amanda. And we had a good thing going. The sex was really good. You'd look at her and you thought she was a sweet little girl. But inside the bedroom, she was a fucking freak between the fucking sheets. And so, I allowed the good sex with us to kind of like, okay, maybe I'll give this a chance. Because we started going out right after the Super Bowl in 2007. And so like in the spring and fall, I gave up a lot of baseball and basketball I watched. Because after she get off work, she wanted to go out and have dinner every night, hang out with some friends of hers, and on the weekend do like philanthropy, Rotary Club stuff. And, did some wine tasting, go on hikes, and I was all right with that. And I kept telling Amanda, I said, I'm giving up a lot of stuff, and I don't mind doing it because I'm having fun with you, but I love football, okay? And, like, I can maybe give up some college football games on Saturday, but come Sunday, I'm not giving up the NFL. I said, I'm okay with you watching it with me, and I'll explain it to you, but we can go out Sunday night, but I got to watch football on Sundays. That's my thing. And I felt like I compromised with her. And she was like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with it. But then when football season comes around, and there's games like at 10 o'clock in the morning, gotta live on the West Coast, and then and at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's like, you gotta watch both games? I said, yeah. I told you I like watching football on Sundays. I said, at least you're with me. I said, we'll go out and eat anytime. And she would pout. The first couple weekends, fucking pout. I couldn't enjoy the fucking game. And then finally, at that fourth weekend, the Cowboys had to play a Sunday night game. So I told her, I said, I tell you what, we can go out during the daytime and do something, but I need to watch the Cowboy game at 5:30. All right, they're playing the Giants, Sunday night game. Okay. And she said, no, I want to go out Sunday night. And I said, Amanda, let me get something straight here. I've been watching football for the last 30 years of my life. I said, if you think I'm going to give up football for the next 30 fucking years to be with you, you're out of your fucking mind. And I broke up with her. And she goes, you breaking up with me? I said, yes. This ain't working. And I'm not going to fucking play a bad hand. I know when to fold a bad hand. Because I play a lot of poker. And she couldn't believe it. So she stormed off and left. And that was the last I heard from her. Women hate it when you break up with them, man. Because women are the ones that are used to breaking up with you. I can honestly say, I've never been broken up with. I've always done the one breaking up. Not because I'm like that kind of motherfucker and that I'm irresistible. But when I sense that there's going to be trouble in paradise, I don't need to see any other signs. I get the fuck out of Dodge. I'm all about giving of myself. I actually think I would make a really good husband. I would make a good husband, a fantastic father to some children. But the problem is, women don't appreciate my honesty. They don't appreciate, like the fact that I don't want to tell them what they want to hear. See, this is the thing about dating, and this is how fucked up dating is. Guys who go on a first date, women want them to make a good impression. If your guy doesn't make a good impression on the first date, he's not getting a second date. And I always thought that was a terrible way to go about dating. I always felt like dating, particularly when you're older, you should look at as a first date as like a job interview. In other words, you know what? Go for coffee somewhere and say, hey, let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you about me. I want to learn about you. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I want to know what you're looking for. And I'll tell you deal breakers about me. And I want to know deal breakers about you. And if we can sift through all of that and kind of come to an understanding, like, okay, we can work through this, then we can have a second date. But let me tell you something. If there's are things that are going to be obvious deal breakers, I'd rather find out on the first fucking date than to find out 5 to 6 fucking months down the fucking line. But you know what? The average female, they dress up, they invest in their hair and all this stuff, and they want the first date to go good. So the expectation of the female is they want the guy to pull out all the stops, impress them, wow them. Oh, he's a great guy. This guy did everything. He was such a nice, great guy. And yet you wonder why things don't work out. How many times have women said to themselves, man, I wish I knew that about him when we first went out. I wouldn't have spent all this time with him. Well, you know why you don't find out those things? Because you go about dating the wrong fucking way. Look in the fucking mirror, ladies. Men too. But especially you fucking ladies. Because you ladies are the ones that basically, you force men to fucking have to play the game. Because your expectations are, you want to be swept off your fucking feet. You want a man to tell you what you want to hear. A man has to hit those notes, that checklist, or guess what? He ain't going on a second date with you. And men know this. So you put us in a decision, either we're going to get rejected or we got to lie to you. And you know what? I chose, I'd rather be alone. Now, being alone don't mean I'm fucking lonely. It means I'm alone. But you know what? I work around that. I play a lot of poker, and I'm pretty good at it. I play mostly cash games, but I've had some success in tournaments. All right? I watch a lot of sports. That fulfills me. I got me a dog, and I got me a cat. And you know what? When I come home playing poker, my fucking dog is glad to see me. No drama. None of this fucking, you nagging at me. She's just fucking happy to see me. And I would be into having a woman to come home to who was actually glad and happy to see me. And I would have no problem putting forth the effort. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Trying to find a woman who likes sports, who can even enjoy talking about poker and the strategy behind it, is harder than finding Waldo in one of those kids' Where's Waldo books. I mean, I know when you go on TV and you watch the pregame show, you see all these hot blonde bimbos talking football. But it's like, where are these fucking women in real life? I mean, women always talk about how pornography distorts the male perception of sex in the bedroom. It's like, well, women ain't like that in real life. Of course I understand that. I mean, it's like porn. I mean, they're going to do all kinds of kinky, freaky shit. Most women ain't down for that kind of stuff. But you know what? The same can be said for seeing women talk about sports on fucking TV. Most women ain't down for fucking talking about fucking sports. And it's like sports and poker. That's what I like to do. I also like politics. Okay, I follow history. I'm into the whole science thing, the James Webb thing that's going on in the world. Following what's going on in Russia. The election. climate change. I got my views about how fucked up religion is. But it's tough to meet a female who can, engage in these things on any kind of meaningful level. So I gave up dating. Long story short, I gave up dating. Gave it up, and I'm okay with it. 2003, 16 years later. Now, I've had some friends with benefits over the years. Don't get me wrong. But I haven't dated since 2007. I had a really good thing going up, and a couple of good things going on until COVID. And COVID's been a little slow, but that's okay. You know what? I'm 51 now, and whenever the right thing crosses my path for friends with benefit, I'll pick it up again. But you know what? The thing is that I've resigned myself to being I'm probably gonna grow old alone, because it's like women my age, they're delusional. And they are. I mean, because they in their mind, they're accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle that they associated when they were younger. And you know what? When you're in your 50s, you're not going to meet Chad and Tyrone, okay? That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's like me, I'm 51 years old. And you know what? One advantage I did have was I was able to play the aggressive sex thing with younger females who were like career driven, who just needed a good fuck with somebody that was safe for them. But that was when I was in my late 30s or early 40s, maybe even mid 40s. But 51, a little tough for women in their early to mid 30s to find a 51-year-old man appealing enough to want to fuck the shit out of them. And I'm okay with that. I made my reality with that. And I'm not saying I got to do that all the time. I got a tender side to me. I can be a little romantic. But there's always that part of me that likes to be a little on the aggressive side. Likes to talk dirty and, not be mean or anything, but, talk dirty and, kind of role play it. Because I think at the end of the day, women like they want a man that ravishes them. They want a guy that's willing to break their fucking back. Not all the time, but on occasion. Wants to be fucking fucked. Without worrying about whether he knows what the fuck he's doing. Because I know what the fuck I'm doing. But I'm not going to go out there and beg and try to advertise myself, because you know what? I'm okay where I'm at right now. If a good thing crosses my path, good. If not, I'm okay. I mean, the desire to have a lot of sex decreases as you get older. Anyway, my intention when I started this video was not quite to go there with all this, but oh well, I did. But part I wanted to talk about was the whole high value man and the whole dating and how unrealistic it is. I mean, when women who are at best 5s and 6s in the looks department think that they deserve a high value man, then what does that say about men who are 5s and 6s in the looks department? That they're shit out of luck with finding someone on their level, that instead they gotta settle for a woman who's a 4 or a 3? That's bullshit. I mean, you got men out there who are 6 and 7s all the way around. But the women who are 6s and 7s, they're trying to hold out for a 9 or 10. It's like women marry up, men marry down. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm one motherfucker that will never marry down. I'm not saying that I have to marry up, but if I were to marry somebody, she'd at least be my fucking equal. She'd have to be. I'm not marrying the elephant woman. But at the end of the day, you know what? There's a difference between being lonely and alone. I'm okay with being alone. I don't have drama in my life. Everything I have belongs to me. Okay? I have a dog and a cat who's just totally depend on me, and they love me, and I can pet them, and they lay with me in bed at night, and they purr. You know, it's all good. I don't need the drama that fucking some needy female, you know, who's just looking to fucking use me because she feels like she had to fucking settle for my fucking ass. Fuck that. You know, I'd rather be where I'm at right now. You know, I like my life. You know, I went to Vegas this summer, played in the World Series of Poker. You know, for the month of June, I enjoyed myself. You know, I had one tournament I did really good in. Had a lot of fun doing it. 18,000 people in this tournament. I got 68th place in it. You know, it was a $1 million bounty tournament. Wish I'd done better in some of the other tournaments, but it's okay. There'll be other tournaments. I just played a tournament this weekend at Grayton Casino, an hour from San Francisco. It was a $1,700 buy-in, 616 players. I made it all the way to 39th place. I had pocket queens against pocket eights. The money's all in pre-flop. And the motherfucker flopped an 8 on me. Got lucky and knocked me out. I made the money, but, you know, I was trying to win the tournament. Oh, well, I mean, there'll be other tournaments. Thunder Valley has one in early October. I'll go that one and play. The Win has one in early December. And that's a $10,400 tournament with a $15 million prize pool. I have a friend of mine that may back me in that tournament. And if he does, I'll be playing that tournament. Anyway, what else I want to say? I know this has been a long video, like 41 minutes. You know what? I'll leave it at that. I got a lot of other things I can talk about. You know, 42 minutes is a long time. I'll leave it at that. And then I'll post in the next day or so. I'll come up with some other stuff to talk about because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you got any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section. And I'll be sure to get back with you guys. All right. You guys have a good night.